was you. It was you all along. I was only here to remind you that you could do it, that you had everything you needed. You had the strength, you had the courage, you had the skills, you had everything, everything. You just needed to believe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Fearless Women podcast. My name is Sophia, and today I'm joined with the lovely Amanda. So happy to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Sophia. Very honored to be here. Just to give you a little bit of my background. So I'm a Jay Shetty certified coach. I chose to focus on women's empowerment because to me, there's something really close to my heart. I am passionate about helping women find their inner strength and just rewrite their own stories. Because life can be a roller coaster. Some days I feel like I can conquer anything, I can achieve anything, and other days, well, as I say, I need a really, really good cup of coffee. But through it all, I learned the importance of inner strength, and just how much we have inside of us that we forget, and all of that. So I'm here to talk about this today.
It's a perfect fit for the Fearless Women, if you really think about it.
It is.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this interview. So moving on to the next question, what does fearless mean to you personally?
So fearless, I think, is definitely not about that invincible kind of description. I think about being fearless is when you look doubt in the face and you say, you can't hold me back today. It's about taking that first step. It's when your heart is racing, your palms are sweating, you have all the self-doubt in the world, and you choose to go ahead and take that first step. And you remember Brené Brown, she's fantastic, and she's always say that vulnerability is when you put yourself out there, even when it is scary. And that's fearless to me, is when you show up authentically. You feel uncomfortable, you do it anyway because you know the importance of it, and you know that's going to bring you so much value. Yeah, so
I love that you brought in that little quote. It's actually really on point. Yeah. So, generally speaking, what brought you to the coaching field, and why did you choose this specific niche?
let me tell you, I think life has thrown the biggest curveballs to me, and it was really, really tough so many times. But that, leaving that, experiencing everything I've been through became some sort of my fuel, if you like, my fire. So looking around, I just saw so many women facing similar challenges like I did. Toxic relationships, um, starting new careers from scratch, single parenting, building something from nothing, and they all felt lost and unheard. And I think I realized that I was already trying to help them. So without being a coach, I just found myself coaching my friends and even strangers. I would just, give my time and really try. and offers support and advocating for them. And I think it became clear to me that my passion has always been women's empowerment, even when I didn't realize it. And I think that turned into a passion. Sorry, my passion turned into my purpose. And here I am, using my own struggles, my own story, my own experience, and obviously then my skills that I learned to empower, other women and who, who are walking or have walked similar paths that I've been before.
Pretty much sounds like you're natural when you start not even having like a proper training or something like that.
You're too kind, Sophia.
Okay. When and how did you discover your purpose, and what was your biggest obstacle in getting there?
Yeah, so I think it just goes back to like when I was doing without realizing with my friends and strangers. I don't think it was a sudden revelation. I didn't wake up one morning and said, right, this is my purpose. I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to empower women. No, it was more like a realization. I think as I helped my friends overcome their own limiting beliefs, it was like a spark growing inside of me. Um, but there were definitely moments when I felt like that spark flickering, like almost to die, because it's self-doubt is a very sneaky feeling that can sometimes, you know, try to convince you that I wasn't good enough to do it. Who was I thinking that I was to help anybody else? I'm not qualified enough. I'm not good enough. Who wants to hear what I've got to say? And so that has been my biggest obstacle for sure. I sometimes feel like I've got so much to help, but at the same time, I feel like, but why do why do I feel like I can help? Um, so self-doubt is without a doubt, it's my biggest obstacle, but it's something that I fight every day. And because my purpose is so strong, because my purpose is so clear in my head that although the doubt is there whispering in my ear, I can just shush it. I was like, nope, not today. Not letting you take over, my clear focus, my clear vision of what is that I'm here for, that is serving women in any stage of their lives, because that's what I feel that is my calling. I'm here to not let anyone else that I can possibly help to get stuck in a situation that they don't need to be stuck.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it's super important that you also mention that you're fighting that inner voice every single day, because all the women or everyone that is going to listen to this podcast episode, they will be like, yeah, same. Like we all fight the same demons over and over again. So it's like, thank you for that reminder. Just to shush it. Love how you. Yeah, great. Okay, so was there any moment or phase in your life when being fearless was the only option for you?
Oh my goodness, yes. Um, so many moments actually. I guess I didn't have a choice when I saw myself in an abusive relationship. I think that was, for me, being fearless at that moment was a matter of survival. And at that moment, I had to really take all the courage and really go for it. But also, that's obviously that's talking about an extreme situation, but what is more recent, for me, because I think you have many opportunities to be fearless, not just one here and one there. Um, I think for my daughters, I I had to be strong. So I have two girls, a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they are watching me. They're learning everything from me. So if I let fear hold me back, it wouldn't just affect me. It would really set an example for them. And I would hate to, see two girls growing up without believing in themselves or without having that courage. So I had to really face my fears for them. Even if it wasn't for me, it would be for them. But I think because of it, I learned to obviously to do it for me too. Because when I do it for me, they understand the importance of the self-love, the self-respect, that you're the only person who can really save yourself. Um, and it's just that mindset that you go to show the power of courage. You do it anyway. It's not easy. I can guarantee you that it's not easy. But when I look back and I have a look of all the decisions that I've made when I obviously made the decision to be fearless, I'm so grateful because that's where I am today. It was thanks to being fearless. It was thanks to giving that leap of faith, that recognizing my own strength, and that I managed to bring myself to where I am today, and I'm so grateful for it. So I just remind myself every day, every single day, that fearlessness is the way to a brighter future, not just for myself, but for my daughters, especially.
It's beautiful how you first started off with the reflection of I need to be fearless for my daughters because they're gonna like watch me. But then you shift your mindset to bring it back to yourself and be like, but it's also for myself. And I think that's really inspiring as well to shift that to that one, to always come back to yourself. And you can be an example for, or like an idol for other people, a good example. But firstly, you do it for yourself, and that's very powerful. I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Continuing. So why do you think empowerment for women is important?
This is my favorite. And I think I'm so passionate about when I talk about it. It's probably going to be like too enthusiastic. I think when we help women rise, the whole world rises. Whenever we cheer women up, whenever we back women up, whenever we help women to feel that empowered, it's just it's just beneficial to everyone. The world is a better place. That even if you look at just that one small act of empowerment in your house with yourself, being kind to yourself or finding your strength, that's going to have such a gigantic ripple effect that we don't know. But I can guarantee you that someone will receive that and will benefit from that. Um, so I think about, amazing women out there who spend their lives, that they devote their lives to other women, to girls' educations, women's rights, and it's thanks to that we are raising women who are fearless, and they will inspire others to be the same. And hopefully one day we're going to have a world that is full of fearless women, girls who are growing up feeling that they are, strong and powerful in their own way, in their own beautiful way. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about, because that's what we need. We need girls growing up into powerful women, and powerful women helping to raise other powerful girls.
Yeah, so true. And it indeed starts with the small things, as you said. Oh, yeah, very important.
Yeah. It always starts within us. Oh, sorry. I think it all always starts within. There's no doubt.
That's true. How do you raise awareness for the topic of empowering women?
Well, I am a great believer of things like, this group, this it's just such a beautiful cause. Whenever you put women together for something like this, and then you get to work together in either, podcasts or workshops, and I think we're doing such an amazing service to other women, and raising that kind of awareness, it can only be done by showing how to do it. It's by talking about it, it's by helping people to understand what would it mean if you actually empower women. It wouldn't mean that you're losing anything. It wouldn't mean that people are losing um, their positions or anything because women are growing. It just means that we're more apt to do things that are good, and raising, that awareness of empowerment. It's teaching, especially for men, I think, because there's so much misunderstanding out there that, oh, feminism is just taking rights from men, or now we're pushing all the women to the top. No, there's absolutely none of it. It's just we're just wanting the basics, which is equality. We just want to be seen with the same human rights, with the same, you know, everything that should work for men should work for us. But that doesn't mean that we are diminishing the importance of the other sex. It just means that we want to walk side by side. We want to be the same, be heard the same. We want to be taken seriously enough. And I think that's really important. It's just helping men to understand that we're not doing this to put them on the second plan. No, 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 no. Because they've been on top of us for such a long time that now is frightening for them, I suppose, for many men. It's frightening, the idea of the rise of women, the empowerment of these women, because they feel like they're gonna lose, but they're not gonna lose. They're gonna probably feel even more, you know, um, supported and even more understood if they have, a powerful woman next to them, working side by side, not underneath, not above, but side by side. And then, yeah, and I think the only way of doing that is by talking, and is by like doing things like this, podcasts and workshops and interviews and books and talks, and talking to one another in your communities. I think I'm sometimes probably talk too much with all the men in my community, but I just love that we get to really give the right message, that no one here is trying to be superior or better than. It's about being equal and about being able to make our own decisions. And I think that's probably the main thing.
I love that you address the other gender as well, because I don't think many guests on our show have. And yeah, I think like it should be seen as a win-win situation. So I really love how you explained that. And it's actually true. It's not being superior there, but yeah.
No.
So moving on to the next question.
Mm.
So what are some common obstacles or challenges women face in empowerment, and how can they overcome them?
Well, that's a really, really good question. I think majority of women that I helped had the same, it's almost like the same list of challenges. The three big ones I would say: self-doubt, the lack of self-love, and it's just between mindset and self-belief, so confidence and mindset. So they're all there, and I think it all comes down to how they perceive themselves, how they look in the mirror and they immediately see flaws, they immediately see weaknesses, they immediately see the failure, the mistakes. And because of it, because the mindset is just so focused on that side of the things, don't get me wrong, it's great for you to focus on your mistakes if you're going to use them to propel yourself up or to keep going, or to, that's great, I made a mistake, now I know how to get going. But usually women tend to take mistakes to a very personal level, and it turns into that sense of, I'm a failure, I made a mistake, or I'm just like not good enough. Let's just use, for example, parenting. I don't think I know one single mom out there who don't feel like they are doing a really pretty rubbish, work as parenting. And you feel like, but hold on a second, it's just the way that you're looking at it is just so important, because everything you do, you're learning, and you're living like everybody else. Everyone is making mistakes. Everyone is letting the ball drop. Everyone is trying to do their best. Everyone is winging it, if you like. There is no, there's no perfection. I think the word perfect should be really exterminated from the dictionary. It's just a disfavor to all humankind to have a word like perfect, because it just makes us believe that there is, a possibility of something being perfect. So women face all these challenges of, I'm not good enough, I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good wife, I'm not a good friend, or I'm not doing good at my job, I'm not good enough to be, a CEO, or whatever it is. It's just really sad, because you've got to stop and say, well, why not? Why the hell not? Why do you think that you're not, a good mom? Or why do you think that just the fact that you thinking that you're not good enough just tells me how much you care about your kid, how much you worry about it, and how much you want to do what is right for your child. But yet we tend to focus on those negative side of things. So that immediately takes your confidence down, immediately makes you feel, not great about yourself, because you're not giving yourself any credits. You're not helping yourself to see, but so far my child is being fed, watered, and it goes to school every day and is loved, and it has everything that they need. So what else could you be doing that you feel like that's not good enough? And the way I see, and the way I managed to help friends or clients to overcome those limiting beliefs that they are not good enough, they're not doing a good job. It's just, it's almost like it's the mirror exercise. I want you to, every time that you have a thought like that, I want you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing that is really not good? Or what is it that I feel like it's not, it could be better, or whatever it is. Really ask yourself, how how could I be doing this better? And I would say 9 out of 10 times, the answer is always like, actually, I couldn't be doing this better right now because I am doing my best. So when you really stop and think about it, you get to the conclusion that, well, actually, I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm just not giving myself the credit for it. Or maybe my expectations are so out of, reality, maybe because I'm comparing myself to someone else, and I immediately think that I'm not doing, good enough. So comparison is definitely the enemy of happiness. I don't know. That was a great friend of mine. She always said that whenever you compare yourself to anything or anyone, I can guarantee you're killing your happiness.
Because everybody wants it.
um, yeah, exactly. That's just the biggest mistake you can do is go and compare yourself. So yeah, so I think overcoming those limiting beliefs are probably the first step of really getting out of that hurt of feeling not good enough, or I'm not doing this well, or I'm not, haven't got that body, or I wish I had that house, but I don't have it, or whatever it is that you are feeling that is not so great right now. You have to stop, because if you're not feeling grateful enough for the things that you have or you are, it's because you must be comparing to something else. And in that comparison, you just it's just not even fair, because you're looking at someone else's life. You are looking at something that is not your reality. Your reality is here, and you are exactly where you need to be. You're leaving exactly what you should be leaving. And now it's up to you to, see all of that, use all of that as a great base for you to go on. And I'm so grateful for this that I'm doing. I know it's not probably the best I can do, but it's the best I can do right now. If you feel like that, if you feel like you could be doing something better, and you've got to remind yourself, I can perhaps, but right now this is the best I can do, and I have to be grateful for that. I have to really grasp them and use that as my fulfilling, you know, feel that is going to get me through. So yeah, so women definitely self-doubt and compare themselves, and the mindset is always stuck sometimes to this of limiting beliefs. And I think the only way of overcoming that is doing a really, really good job of mindset shifting, trying to get that mirror in front of them and say, right, you talk to yourself now, and try to really understand that you are doing a good job.
And actually, gratitude is such a powerful tool. Like a lot of people really underestimate that.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's one of the single most powerful things that you can do for yourself, no matter how difficult is the situation, the day, the relationship, or anything. It's finding something to be grateful for, you know, let alone the scientific reasons for that. it's just proven that every time you have a grateful thought, it sparkles something in your brain that helps you to really help and see clear. But I think even if we don't think about it and just feel about, okay, it immediately makes you feel better, immediately brings you back to the ground, and it humbles you and it grounds you. And then you can, look around and think, okay, so what is it that I need to do? Gives you that sense of perspective.
Plus, the universe loves gratitude as well. So can only work.
Exactly. I think when you get your whole your whole energy, your whole vibration into a positive um state, there is no doubt that everything around you will feel better, will smell better, will sound better, and it's just amazing. And I know it sounds so cliche because whenever people talk about gratitude, it sounds like, oh, that thing again, oh, being grateful. And this is like, but if you're saying that, it's because you never actually exercised gratitude. I only hear people saying that when they actually haven't tried it.
Want to come.
Because because when you do, when you really do, when you really stop and feel true gratitude, no matter how small it is, I can guarantee you wouldn't say that again.
Yeah. Amen. Um, so moving on, there is another question actually related to tools and strategy. So one tool or strategy that personally helped you in your personal growth that you would like to share.
Well, my coach would probably say that I definitely have this tendency, like I mentioned before, of overthinking a lot. And with the overthinking, it comes the self-doubt. Um, and he does a wonderful job with me because he knows exactly the path I take sometimes of, you know, not believing in myself. And he always asks me this question, but why do you think you can't do it? And every time he asks me that, I'm like, that's a great question. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I'm trying to think. Why can't I do that? Yeah, I don't have an answer. So um that's to me, it's always been the case. Is when I question myself and ask, why not? Or what's stopping me? When I try to dive really deep into any reasons of excuses that I, give myself. And believe me, I can find excuses really easily. I can, yeah, I can dig for excuses when I, especially when I'm feeling um not so confident, when I'm feeling like the proper fear of doing something. Usually is because um I I used to hate the idea of being judged. Really, that was like one of my biggest um fears. It was the fear of being judged, the fear of being criticized, or just the pure fear of people talking about me and not being necessarily positive. So that stopped me so many times. It really put a halt completely into many, many, many projects, many things that I tried to do before. And since I, took in this journey, it's funny because I always saw this in other people. I would always spot that on my friends and strangers. I would always see that. But nothing can stop you. If you really want, go ahead, do this, do that. But when it came to me, oh, the story was completely different. I would find 1,000 reasons why not to. And I couldn't find any reasons why I should or what I wanted to. And then since I certified and graduated from a coaching school, my my entire I think my entire way of really looking at my excuses changed so much because I had to walk the talk. I couldn't say, well, but this is easy. Why aren't you doing it? Here you go. You have all this, you have this. And I was like, oh, I can't say that because I'm not doing it. And that's not okay. It's not okay for me to go and say to everyone, you can do it. But at the same time, look in the mirror and say, no, Amanda, you can't. So I really had to step up and think, you know what? If I'm going to be doing this, if I'm going to be a coach, I need to be the first one who actually does it, who really, really walks the talk. And I think that's exactly how it became really powerful to me. And I don't feel like I can ever say to anyone, do this or do that. Why don't you do this? Yes, you can. If I didn't believe that myself, if I didn't have conviction that I can do it, I wouldn't be able to say that to anybody else. So the first and the most important work, as you know, you have to do it is with yourself. Is you have to, give that first step. You have to be courageous. You have to be brave. You have to be fearless. You have to. That's the only way that you can inspire other people to really do it. And I think my coach, he did a wonderful job in really making that stick to me because every time now he asks me, why not? I haven't got an answer. And I think that's amazing. The fact that I cannot give an excuse anymore, that I stop myself, you know, getting even to that point of thinking about, oh, what can I find as an excuse? I have to do it. I have to do it. I don't have a choice. I simply have to.
And you are. So
And I am.
what you preach. Yeah.
Amen.
So
Yeah, totally.
very insightful. Thank you.
You.
Okay. So can you share a success story of one of your clients who made a significant positive change through life coaching?
Oh, that was one of my first clients through coaching school. Um, she is a wonderful young lady. And I think the very first sessions we couldn't really put it down what was her biggest goal. It was really, really hard to get that out of her. So we kept going, we kept going. I think we were about like 12 sessions in when she finally decided, she's like, I think I know what I want. I think I know what my goal is. And I was like, that's great. That's fantastic. I really want to hear it. Let's find out what is it. And her goal was to move out of her family house. And at the time, and I was like, okay, well, that's pretty simple, like pretty straightforward goal. I can't imagine how that is difficult. And as we obviously got to know each other, but mainly for me, I got to know her very well and her challenges, and it became really clear that her biggest challenge was that she didn't believe that she could. She didn't believe that she was capable of really going on her own, living her own life. And mind you, she was nearly 30 years old and she was still living with her parents and family. So we um, extended our contract for another 12 weeks. So she was probably my longest client. And we were getting probably towards the end of those 6 months of coaching. She came such a long way. I was so proud of her. She managed to do so much. In 6 months, she managed to find a fantastic job. She managed to buy her own car. She managed to move out. She rented her first flat for the first time ever. She was living on her own. She was living independently, away from her family. Some family members were fantastic, very supportive. Some other family members were not. So she had to face that. She had to face people who she really loved, but they were not supportive. They were not happy for her happiness. And it was heartbreaking to go through that, journey with her. But she was so graceful. She managed to rise above all of that, above all the uncertainty. She didn't know how the relationship would ever, be after she took all those steps and really went on living her own life. And yet she decided to go ahead because she knew how much she wanted it. She knew how much that was so important to her to just to move on, to really live her life on her own terms, with her own decisions, with no intervention from anyone, no matter how much our family members can love us, no matter how much the intentions are always good and they want our best. Sometimes it's not what is best for us. And they don't know that. And they will put a lot of, pressure. They will put a lot of I would say just a lot of perhaps doubts in our heads that we shouldn't even have. All comes from a place of love, but doesn't always suit us and is not always in our favor. So I was just so proud of her, how much she went through, how much she embraced all of her um strength and courage and really, really went for it. And I when we finished our contract, she was a completely different young lady. The way she spoke, she felt confident, she felt strong, she felt empowered, she felt like, actually now I can think about having a relationship. I can now have think about having a family because that was something that she really wanted to. She was only 30, but she was thinking like, gosh, if I don't leave my parents' house, I will never be able to have a relationship or I will never be able to start my own family. And like you could see how achieving all those goals made her dreams get bigger because then she could see the possibility. She then could see how much she could achieve because she just achieved all those things. So suddenly she felt like, well, I can do anything now. I was like, yeah, I was like, yes, you can. You absolutely can. And I want you to always, always, always remember that you did it. It was you. It was you all along. I was only here to remind you that you could do it, that you had everything you needed. You had the strength, you had the courage, you had the skills, you had everything, everything. You just needed to believe in yourself and do it. And because I believed in her, she believed in herself. And now she will be able to keep believing in herself to, hopefully the rest of her life. Because all of those limiting beliefs that were holding her back were left behind. So that is one of my favorite like experiences in my whole life, because I felt so like happy for her. It really brought tears to my eyes. I think the very last session was so emotional, and I said to her, just like, I never want to lose contact with you, because I can't wait to see all the things that you're going to achieve. And that moment I was like, oh, that's it, that's what I was born to do. I have no doubt. Yeah, it was beautiful, and to this day I still feel like super happy for her. Every time I think about it, it brings some sort of, you know, tears to my eyes. I'm like, oh yes, I love her.
No. What a beautiful, beautiful example of how life-changing coaching
Mm.
can be, right? It's just like that would be the perfect commercial. I feel, yeah. That
I
story.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, can definitely write a book just on her.
Great. So who are some fearless women who have inspired you?
I love that question, but that's a very hard question to answer. So I think I could mention so many, very well-known names. Like one of my favorites, Michelle Obama, for all the work that she does in women's rights. Masala Yousafzai, she's like, she put her life in danger to, to save girls to keep going to school. Like I don't know other definition of fearless women more than her, but when I think about real women who inspire me, I probably think about all these women I see in my community every day. The single moms juggling work and, raising children on their own. The young girls who go to, high school, and they have to be really courageous to be who they are, to be accepted by who they are. Wives supporting their husbands and their entire families. There's so many of them. Women, trying to grow businesses for nothing. They inspire me. They're the ones who make me feel like I can't, I cannot not be inspired by you, because everything that you do is just, that's it. They are the ones that they always, show me how to be fearless, because they're getting up every day and putting themselves out there, doing the hard things, choosing their own paths, and because they chose to do better for themselves, they are choosing to sacrifice for the, good of the community. They are doing amazing um things for everyone. So I think those are the ones that really inspire me. I mean, I love this, Michelle Obamas and Malalas of the world, but it's just the ones that close to me. They are the ones that I feel more connected to on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. It's actually true. If you really think about it, you can find them everywhere you look. Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just need to look around. Like people like our, group of coaches. I feel like that's so inspiring. That is, to me, the most inspiring thing is to see so many people doing, this beautiful work to help and serve as many people as possible. So for me, that is amazing. There's no other word for it.
Right. All right. So almost the last question. I never, I'm not native in English, so. Um, so yeah, what advice would you like to give to our viewers?
Mm, okay. Well, I could spend a whole hour here giving advice. I won't do it. I I truly think that the probably the best one, which I remind myself and my daughters every day, is believe in yourself. I think that's probably the biggest one. Um, I think every time that we feel ourselves with self-belief, with self-love, and we are our first and most, cheerleaders in that sense, we can prepare ourselves up. Um, and and with self-belief comes that knowledge of you have this inner compass inside of you, and it it always knows the answers. Always. It always guides you to the right path, to the right, you know, people, to the right circumstances. You have this internal compass and it works perfectly. You just need to hear it. And I would say that we tend to like baffle that voice sometimes because of other things. And that voice gets too quiet. And when you hear it, it's almost like so quiet that you feel like, I'm not so sure if I heard that properly. It's probably best not to, not to hear my intuition and just go for it. And so I, yeah, I think like we always have everything that we need, always, be it physically, be it spiritually, be it mentally. We are equipped with every bit of tools and every bit of skills and everything that we need to do something right now. We just really need to look within or listen, truly listen to that inner voice. And when you do that, then I can guarantee you that you have the right answer. You always know the right answer. Is your connection to, the universe, is the connection with the great, unknown out there. And if you use that energy and that power to guide you, you will always right. You will always be right. You will always walk on the right path. And it may not seem necessarily clear, but you need to trust in that. You need to trust that you do have everything that you need. And really take that as a like the biggest truth that there is. You're gonna have to put all your trust in you. And when you do, when you trust yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you love yourself and you're kind and you have that conviction, then there's nothing that's going to stop you. You have all the power in the world. And I think that's exactly what the word empowerment means. It's just describing that you have that inside of yourself. Just need to remember.
I could now like just draw a connection because I know your business name and mine, you know mine as well. So it's like you've been talking about like the try like everything you have within you and the
Yes.
and I'm like, well, there we go. You just did, like all in one sentence. I love that.
I know. And I did that without thinking. That's really funny.
I could see that. I
Um,
was like, dude, like really, yeah, marketing my.
well, it was just so funny because whenever I was looking for a name, I was like, I don't know, I can't think of anything. I think I'm just going to be really cliche and just go for, I don't know, you know, I just want people to know there is a almost like a house for empowerment. And then I looked for, other names for a house. I was like, Hub. Yeah, that's it, Hub. Just come in here. That's exactly what you need to do. Just learn how to empower yourself.
Mm.
Um, Obviously this works very well for women, but I can guarantee you if a bloke is feeling, lost and feeling that he needs that sense of empowerment too, why not? Everything that we say works for both, genders. It will always be. But I guess women have the tendency of thinking more of others than in ourselves. We always put others first. We always want to make sure that everyone is taken care of before we do that for ourselves. And I think that's the biggest, it's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time because you're always putting yourself last plan. You always forgetting about your needs and all the things that you truly are. So let's put, that kind of nurturing trait that we all have to our favor and actually use that to nurture ourselves and think like I would love to look after my family, but if I'm not well, then I can't look after anyone. I love to love everyone, but if I'm not loving myself, I can't really love anyone. It's just such a simple like thought, and at the same time, it's probably the one that we forget the most. That without filling our cup, well, you know that very well. If you don't put your oxygen mask first, then you can't help anyone, right? And it's so, so, so like literally the truth of everything. You have to help yourself first. You have to love yourself first. You have to empower yourself first. And that's the only way that you can then serve anyone else, is by doing that.
So true. I couldn't agree more. All right. So before we close down, how
Mhm.
our audience find you on social media or websites or anything?
Yeah, so I have to be honest, my social media and my website probably not that exciting yet, but it will be. It's one of my projects is to put lots of really interesting content in there. But my Instagram is there. It's my empowerment hub, so my.empowerment.hub, and my website can be found. It's the link is in the bio there. Yeah, so I think my next project is to really put a lot of interesting and really helpful instant help there for women who need to access that straight away. So I'm working really hard to get that as soon as possible live on the website. Just feels like there's so much out there. It's so easy to find information nowadays, but at the same time, it can be quite overwhelming. So I think to find the right tools or the right techniques, methods, all of those things can be almost like daunting because you have so many options. You have so many, you know, varieties of, this is what you do when you're in self-doubt, or this is what you do when you don't feel like you're being grateful enough. All of those things. So I really want to bring, in my opinion, the tools that work the best, not just for me, but also for my clients, and make it as easy as possible to work with, to understand. I want to almost like serve on a platter. Here you go. Is that what you need? There you are. Is this what you need? Here you are. And there to be very, very quickly accessible, um, and really, really effective. Hopefully, that's what I'm trying to do. Just to help as many people as possible. And of course, lots of plans as well to do more of these, podcasts and talks and group coaching, all of this. I love it. I just need to find time for it, but I love it.
Oh, cool. So exciting. I'm really looking forward to your content because what I've seen already is really good. So
Oh, thank you. I love your content. It just puts anyone's of mine like, she's
no,
a pro.
don't say that. Um, so yeah, is there anything else before we close down that you like to say or
Well, I just feel like it's such an honor to be part of this. I feel really, really like chuffed that I've been invited to speak here. Thank you so much. It meant the world to me. And yes, I'll be so happy to be invited again. And I think the more we do things like this, the more women, help other women to grow and to rise, we can achieve so much. And I think that's I'm never going to stop doing that. And for as long as I live, I'm going to be cheering other women on, and I'm going to be supporting them. I'm going to be helping them and be always there, um, helping.
that's the spirit. I love it. Yay.
Thank
Um,
you.
but yeah, Amanda, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. I really loved the interview. It was very insightful. I mean, I know you from the course, like I mean we graduated together, so I know that you're such a kind and wholehearted person. And I know you're doing a great job in coaching. I've seen you doing like the exercises and I was like blown away. So I'm very
Thank you.
inspired by you and what you do in this world. So keep doing it. So glad to have you on the show, have had you on the show. And yeah, so thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
today.
Thank you so much. You are such a beautiful soul, so kind, so beautiful. Like I said, I the honor's mine to be here, and yeah, I would say the interview flew very, very nicely because of a great host.
And a great interviewee. How do you say that? Yeah.
Yeah, or guest.
Yes, yeah.
As
But yeah,
an interviewer. You got the interviewer and then the interviewee.
okay.
I always get confused on those names.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Waiting for your content. And yeah, it was a pleasure having you. I wish you a wonderful, I know it's nighttime with you, so have a good night and I hope to speak with you soon. Thank
Thank you so much. Lots of love.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.